Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Miraculous Ladybug, the new Powerpuff Girls, and Voltron Legendary Defender. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
Justin Cummings.
Hello.
And Michelle Anderer.
Hey.
Today, Delaney, Justin, Michelle, and I will have our weekly Steven Universe Roundtable discussing a specific topic within Steven Universe while there's not new episodes airing. There's only so much time left before that happens. Today, we'll be taking a deep dive into Jasper, as frequently requested by you all.
People did request it. I was really pleasantly surprised.
People love Jasper for some reason, so we'll discuss Jasper today. Thank you, Michelle, for outlining Jasper, and we'll go through all facets of Jasper and predict what happens. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. Before we get into anything, a lot of stuff's happening, so I'm going to break it down quickly. We'll see how quick it is. First things first, no spoilers, no discussion of promos, no discussion of leaks, official, non-official, that have come out today, yesterday, for the upcoming episodes, okay? You will not find any of that in this podcast. Next week, we may or may not discuss that because we'll need to have a rest of season speculation one. So that's going to be next week's roundtable. But no discussion, like not even mentioning what they're about, okay?
I haven't seen anything. Oh, Delaney,
that's,
wow.
Like, not possible.
Okay, that's
like
impressive.
a compilation of GIFs or GIFs or whatever they're called these days.
So
yeah, I've tagged you, Justin. I hope you've seen them.
Not on this podcast. Okay. So what's happening? So Steven Universe is apparently going to be airing every day for about a month, potentially more, starting on July 18th at 7 p.m. on weekdays. So this is the entire rest of the season 2 by production, season 3 by Cartoon Network standards, and this is going to be at least 20 episodes, potentially even more. This is craziness. We talked. I don't know if we last week this had happened yet. Yeah. Last week we knew that it was Canada, and like, yes, this is the United States. This is everywhere, and so. The short answer is I think that we are going to try to cover every episode every night. So that's going to suck. God. But I think that is a lot. That's going to suck for me. You all can rotate in and out, but me, I have to be there all the time. So
can I give a brief clarification real quick?
Sure.
It's not Mark Burnett. It's one of the guys who works on the show. He tweeted, Matt Burnett. He said almost every weeknight for over a month. So there will be some nights where it's off.
Well, we'll see about that. Like for now,
it's not perfect, but that's what we're getting.
I doubt that it will take random days off. He's probably just like covering all bases. For now, we know so far that it will air 2 episodes on the 18th. As of now, the schedule changes. The 19th, the 20th, the 21st. We have the episode titles for those. I assume the 22nd, but as of this recording, we haven't gotten that one yet. And also out today was an extended thing from the Tuesday episode, and Cartoon Network released a clip from
way far out there episode.
From some, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not clear what. There were previous episode title listings. Who knows what's right, what's wrong? So that was like an official Cartoon Network release. Anyway, none of that's going to be discussed, but we will start speculating on that next week. But yeah, so I think that we'll be for sure the only podcast who is going to attempt to cover every episode of the Summer of Steven. They'll have like short 20 to 30 minute podcasts. 7 will record them like right after the episode, then they'll come out featuring you 3 rotating in and out depending on who's available. And that's what is the plan as of now, but I'm not going to promise sticking to that. I know I have a vacation at some point during that where I'm going to be visiting my annual pilgrimage to the basis for Steven Universe's location, which is actually a thing. And Rehoboth.
I did not know that about you.
Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Yeah, much like Rebecca Sugar, I go there every year. And or during like, I don't know if she does that anymore. But
you got to time that better.
But now it's happening during Summer of Steven, so I don't know if that's good or bad. But so good. So yeah, every episode is kind of crazy. My general feelings on this are that this is actually better than a Steven bomb. The short answer is like this actually feels like an event. A Steven Bomb is like half budding an event where like it's just okay, we'll have episodes new every day this week and then we'll be off for a while. It kills the hype. This at least is like, okay, we're finishing up the rest of the season. Like this is going full throttle. I'd prefer weekly for the podcast. We can't do like 2 podcasts on every episode now. But this is at least like probably a better decision from Cartoon Network, and I'll try to have an article up about this on overlyanimated.com/category/blog soon. So yeah, that's the stuff. Delaney, general feelings on every episode, day for a month, hype or like weariness?
Well, I mean, it's just because I like work and I work weird hours that it's like really annoying, but I think I'm hyped about it because I mean, we bemoaned how they did Gravity Falls, and it was just like they killed like obviously Disney Cartoon Network different, but like Disney like murdered Gravity Falls and how they aired it. I do think this is like a good decision. I'm excited to watch. I mean, I'm gonna DVR the crap out of it because I'm gonna be at work, but I'm really excited. I do agree that I think this is more of an event. Like Steven Bombs are cool, but they're also like kind of annoying because it's like, oh, it's over, but now it's like, oh, this is like we're getting the rest of the season. Like I do think this is a good idea, and also like it's ridiculous. Like this is kind of momentous. Like we have who's done this before? Like new stuff for like a month. This is crazy. Yeah. Like I'm ready. This is pretty cool, and it's actually the summer because like we'd heard Summer of Steven. Yay! It's actually July. It's actually the summer. Good, because I would have been annoyed if they did it like in the beginning of August. I'm like, whatever. This is the end of the summer, so I'm happy.
Yeah. I had previously Cartoon Network scheduling is an enigma, but the only thing I could figure out was that they kind of wanted to make this a summer show. Last year, they also aired most of the episodes during the summer. They had like a Steven Bomb, then weekly, then like maybe another bomb. It does seem like Cartoon Network wants to air the show during the summer for some reason, and they just struggle to like not air it not during the summer. So, but also that being said, the other side to this is Cartoon Network's been sitting on 20 plus episodes of the show that have been done for a while. So
yeah, that's really interesting.
Thanks for that, Cartoon Network. This is more normal than you think in TV, but it's still annoying. Justin, you hype about this?
I am hype. I'm very excited. We're going to get a lot of content very, very quickly. It'll be great. It'll be a production nightmare from our standpoint. However, my biggest worry is I do remember the last time Cartoon Network did this. I talk about this all the time. The last season of Total Drama, The Redonkulous Race, Cartoon Network aired every episode, one a night, just burned the whole series off very, very quickly, and then never talked about it again. And it seems they only do that kind of thing when they're trying to get rid of a show. So right. I don't know if that's a good sign.
That's how Nick has done. So that's how Nick has done things for.
That's Cartoon Network.
So this is a separate instance from Cartoon Network. So this is not what's happening.
Last fall on Cartoon Network.
Right. Okay. So this is not what's happening because this is something that Cartoon Network's promoting. That we know we're getting more seasons of Steven Universe. This is like actively a event from Cartoon Network's perspective. Yes, there's times when networks run off shows, but this is like prime viewing slots for Cartoon Network every day for a month, and they're promoting this as an event. So this is a conscious release decision from them. It's not, for, might add, their best rated show, like when new episodes air. So this is an attempt for whatever, they think this is a good ratings decision. Michelle, thoughts?
Well, obviously, like, very hyped, and also, like, kind of, I'm sure it will be, like, a little weary from a podcasting standpoint.
It's fine. But, look, I could look.
Yeah, we can deal for, like, a month. Like, we won't die, you know?
Mean, it's bad every night, but, like, 7, I could get an episode, I'm gonna get the podcast up by 8 p.m. Like, it's not that bad.
After doing Voltron, like, I'm ready for this. Like, okay. I'm whatever. Yeah. Voltron was, like, I'm fine.
But, yeah.
The one thing that concerns me is that, does this mean we could be looking at maybe, like, another whole year before we get season 4?
Okay.
If we're going to get 20 episodes in like a month, like I feel like that might be a real possibility, and that bums me out like super hard if that's what ends up happening.
So think about it like this: Cartoon Network's trying to make this a summer show. We won't see the majority of the next season until summer. I assume they'll put out a bomb at some point between then, like they did in January or something of this year. But yeah, this is probably it for a while. So
I think it's nice, like having like if it is like to make a summer show. Like if you're gonna do that, do it. I think that's,
right. They can't commit to it, which sucks. But yeah, it's. I agree. It's at least it's consistent. Like do something.
Yeah, it would be nice if it's consistently that way for a while.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I think it's more of the just having not any information.
Right.
Yeah,
they just
exactly.
don't like even this. Like they said okay. Initially they said June to August. Then they changed their mind and they put Into Deep out. And then they didn't even tell us this was airing. Cartoon Network Canada put something on their website. That's the first we knew about it. Like this is so stupid. Cartoon Network's just really bad at this. I don't think they care. But they're really bad at this. Anyway, let's get into. So
I'm
there's
sure they care.
I don't think they care. I think these.
I
I
don't think they care.
I think some of these kid networks don't think that they really need to hype things.
If
They don't. I don't think they don't have a concept of like what like a show like Steven Universe or like. I mean, it's like I think obviously Nick and Cartoon Network, two different channels, networks, but like look what Nick did to the Legend of Korra. Like Cartoon Network,
This is true.
They don't understand they don't understand like the following or like what's going on. Like they're just like, okay, kids watch it. Like they have like no concept.
Right, yeah, no, it's
like,
that
they
mindset.
Don't care.
It's the we're looking for our 6 to 11 demo type thing, and it's not and hyping something and like announcing it is for an older demographic.
Honestly, the fact that we get like promos on if I'm actually watching Cartoon Network, the fact that we get promos for Steven Universe, they've been doing these like package things where they have like. They'll do like an hour marathon of Steven Universe. The fact that they do that is incredible, considering there were like 0 promotions on Nickelodeon for The Legend of Korra. Like there were like no commercials like ever.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think Nick knows what they're doing more than Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network seems like bafflingly like inept at this, whereas Nick basically just screwed up. Like they're actually trying things with Korra. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll talk more about this next week. We'll talk about this big month-long summer of Steven, or Steven's Summer Adventures is I think what they're calling it now. Like what compels them to change their mind from Summer of Steven to Steven's Summer Adventures? Like
what's it matter?
Because it goes past summer, probably.
But it's still summer.
Summer adventures.
It's not a great reason.
Also, it's not. Also, yeah, no. We'll finish mid-August too, so it's not.
Because the 6 to 11 demographic loves adventure.
Yeah, they tested this in their kid focus group, and that one won. But okay,
because Summer Adventure sounds more childish than Summer of Steven.
It's all stupid. Anyway, we'll talk more about all this next week. For now, we're going to get into Jasper. It's our last chance to speculate on the fate of Jasper before probably we learn. I mean, we'll talk about that. We might not. We might not learn in the next 20 episodes.
If we don't in 20 episodes, I'm so pissed off. I swear.
If we don't even... Okay, think about, even though it took 20 episodes to get the Lapis payoff, we at least got Chillatide. We got like a little something before the big payoff. So we'll
while
see Jasper.
Before we got the last group.
Okay, Chillatide was maybe... I mean, I know it felt like a while, but Chillatide was only 5-6 episodes into the season. It was not that long after Jailbreak.
Yeah, I guess
that is true.
They're just airing slowly at that point, yeah.
Yes, very, very slowly.
Okay, so let's get into Jasper. To start, we're going to recap what we've seen of Jasper on the show. We're going to talk about the facets of Jasper, and then we'll speculate at the end, which is...
the facets.
The many facets, so many.
I don't get it. But okay, let's go to these...
That joke rocked.
Nope.
No, okay, now I'm mad. Okay, now I'm over it. Okay.
Remember, we're not talking about the preview content. Let's just remember this. Okay, so I don't think it's significant for this discussion. I don't know how you didn't see it. Like,
literally,
how did you?
Did I reference it without realizing it?
I have no idea.
I don't think so. Anyway, let's talk about the 4 episodes that Jasper's in. And I was surprised that this is only 4. That's interesting.
I wasn't.
So the 2 finale episodes, Michelle. I mean, this is Jasper. I mean, this is like the most we've seen of Jasper. This is like our perception of Jasper. How would you describe the Jasper we see in the season 1 finale episodes, the return in Jailbreak?
Super intimidating, super like big, and just as a physical person, like probably the biggest gem we'd seen at that point for sure. And a very good fighter. Obviously, she kind of takes Garnet on, and they're pretty equally matched to a point. Which is interesting. I don't know. I mean, a long time ago, somebody pointed out that like Jasper might be like one of the only gems we see with like eyelashes, which I think is really interesting because she's also one of the least feminine looking gems. So I thought that was kind of cool.
But okay, interesting. Didn't expect to talk about eyelashes, but okay.
Tidbit,
yeah, there's a nice tidbit. So here's what I remember about Jasper in the finale. Here's I think her most prominent traits: warrior, big, etc. Fights Garnet. That's number 1. Number 2, representative of Homeworld's anti-fusion ideology. I think that's very clearly presented.
Yep.
And then number 3, calls Steven Rose. and like just like thinks it's Rose. Like,
I
feel like that was pretty. Like, I feel like that was also pretty prominent in the return and stuff. So yeah, I think those are some interesting facets of Jasper. I'm not sure like how well like concepted this character is at this point. I think at the season 1 finale, Jasper is like representative of a homeworld gem. I feel like it's like our first homeworld gem. I mean, there's also Peridot, but Peridot's Peridot, and it's I mean, Lapis, you know, I feel like this is supposed to be representative of homeworld ideologies. I feel like that's why Jasper is
she's the toe the line, like the perfect soldier from Homeworld. Yeah. She's the war vet, like she fought, you know, Rose Quartz, like she's like
she's the warrior. She's representative of Homeworld, and she's presented as having had a role in the rebellion fight and knows Rose, like, and thinks that's
she kind of respected Rose too, which I think is really interesting because she was technically the enemy. So I feel like there's like a kind of like, it's not like Jasper just like hates everyone for no reason. I think she like genuinely believes like in what Homeworld's doing.
Well, I think it's more she values strength. Like when
she values strength
because her issue with fusion is she's like it's a tactic to make weak gems stronger. You know, that stuff like that. She just she values strength, and I think that's really where that boils down to. Is it's like a Homeworld ideology, but also she's a soldier, and we've talked. You know, these gems have very specific roles. Like they're meant to do one thing. And it's very clear, like, Jasper's meant to just break stuff and just fight. And I think that's very indicative of her character. You know, this attitude towards fusion, I understand, like, this makes sense. And why she would respect Rose Quartz, you know. So, she's just a warrior through and through. Like, it's just all about strength and, like, power and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's clear. It's, like, a very prominent presentation in the finale. And I think it's interesting. And then at the end, she... is like tries to fuse with Lapis once the ship crashes and stuff. I think the fans' reactions to this and the presentation of Jasper is pretty interesting, and I feel like it's presented a lot of the most like heavily debated stuff within the fandom, I would assume. I think that was more of a I think it's less of a thing now, but I feel like I saw that more earlier. It's just like this whole like some people like, oh, Jasper's like great and we're gonna romanticize like this Lapis and Jasper, and then there's like huge pushback against that, right? I feel like that was a big thing. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Michelle? Do you think this was like kind of like this a complex portrayal of Jasper in the finale? What do you think it was intended to be?
I don't think it was necessarily a complex portrayal, but it was, I mean, I feel like it definitely leaves you with a lot more questions and answers about her. I don't know. I mean, like, I think the initial reaction to Jasper is kind of like, oh, like, because you haven't really seen, like, a character like that. And I feel like even Jasper herself, you don't see a lot of female presenting characters on shows at all, especially not animated shows. And even though she is kind of a villain, like, there's something sort of appealing about that. So I think from like a fandom and like especially like a fan art perspective, I totally get like the hype around Jasper. And it's again one of those things where there's so little information, it's easy to kind of like romanticize or even just like assume all these other things because like there's no concrete evidence yet to back up like how like quotes bad of a person she is. So I feel like the general reaction to her was like probably positive in the sense that like she was different, she was interesting, and there are a lot of traits about her that are kind of appealing in the sense of just like not seeing a lot of characters like her around a lot. In terms of her actions, I mean, yeah, they're not very defendable in Return or Jailbreak, but like in a larger sense, I can totally get the hype.
Yeah, general point about Jasper. I think that you could make an argument, and I probably have made this argument before on the podcast, is that the crew presents the Steven Universe, the Crew Universe, I don't know, whatever they are. Like, I think they present Jasper in somewhat of an appealing and sympathetic manner. I don't really think it's just deranged fans like romanticizing this villainous character. I think she's like presented in an appealing way, which is good to have all your characters like even your bad people presented interestingly. But I don't think the show has done a great job of not condoning the abuse that Jasper doles out towards Lapis. I think that it's just kind of a confusing portrayal at the end of Jailbreak. It's just very tonally confusing scene, and I just also don't think it really gels with this highly moralistic show for the rest of the part. Just seeing like Jasper just kind of seen as sympathetic and treated like kind of, I mean, it's not like in an explicit way, it's just more of in presentation and in and it's just very like subtle ways in how they're doing this character, like kind of the voice they give her and like the role that she does and stuff like that. It always left somewhat of a bad taste in my mouth, I think, at the end of season 1 towards and initially I blame the fans, but I really don't think it's them. I think it's a little bit of the show being confused with what they want to do with Jasper.
And
well, honestly, it's all of the gyms. Like, there's like, it doesn't matter what the gyms do. Like, and I mean, crystal gyms or homeworld gyms. Like, you know, people like even Yellow Diamond. Like these, like it's the way everything's animated. It's the way like episodes are kind of directed. We see these like the way you look at Jasper, like with the kind of like the camera quote, you know, kind of angle kind of deal is like how you're looking at these gyms. Like we're supposed to admire them and like. They're like huge and awesome, and it's like, oh, like it's honestly, it's just the entire presentation of all of the gyms. Like it doesn't matter what any of the gyms do, it's honestly the way they look and how and the way we see them, and that's why, like it's
right,
they're super awesome. Like, oh, look at these awesome hot rock ladies. Like, look, they're just doing stuff all the time. That's literally what it is. Like that's it. That's why.
So it's a good point. A lot of our crystal gems, especially our 3 crystal gems, kind of recently have had complex moralistic like portrayals or actions, and yet they're still presented very sympathetically. I think it's different because the crystal gems are 3 crystal, and I think that's what they're going for with Jasper. Like I agree with what you said, Delaney, but I think our 3 crystal gems aren't taking explicitly immoral actions.
No, I just meant like it's honestly like across the board. You see, like it doesn't matter. Like if they're a gym, it's like super hot rock lady, and like it just shows like it's how they're depicted and it's how we see everything, and it honestly doesn't matter what they're doing.
Right, and I think that's kind of a mistake with Jasper, is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Well, not definitely. It's like, I mean, this is a controversial opinion, I would say, but like, so my point generally would be is that like I think that they're trying to do the same thing that they're doing with our crystal gems right now, is showing like these complex characters who are taking like not clear whether it's good or bad actions and presenting them in really sympathetic lights, because that's fine. But I think the difference is Jasper is like clearly abusive, and it's different because we saw it, and like it's explicit, and I think it's not the same as what we're doing with our crystal gems. What do you want to get in, Justin?
Going back to what we're talking about, the perspective and how the show kind of portrays all the gems as sympathetic. I think part of the fault, I guess you call it a fault, the show is still from Steven's perspective. Steven is, yes, he's half crystal gem, but he's still a human, and he mostly knows human culture. He doesn't know gem culture. All of it is just so overwhelming to him. So even when he sees a quote-unquote villainous gem, to him it's still a gem. It's still this mystical, beautiful thing that he doesn't really understand. And I think as long as the show is from Steven's perspective, the gems will always have that, even because I don't think Steven will ever look at a gem and think pure evil.
Well, I don't think Steven looks at anyone as pure evil. I think that's the big thing. It's not necessarily a gem. It's everything.
Right. Which is why even the villains get kind of sympathetic treatment, I think.
Yeah, I think that's like right. I think that's what they're going for, Justin. I think it's a good point. It's like the show's from Steven's perspective, and like that's how we're gonna see. But like, and I think this comes up a lot, is like people want to say that like, okay, the show's from Steven's perspective, and I'm like, okay, like that's right. That's what they're doing. I agree. And I'm saying
we could still see something like when we see, you know, even if Steven, like, you know, we like when Pearl and Garnet, like all that stuff happened, you know, like the jealousy and all that stuff, and you know, yeah, Steven loves both of them, and like, but the thing is, we can still watch that and be like, you know, this is really sketchy, Pearl, like, you know, don't really do that. Like, I think that's like yeah, it's Steven's perspective, but at the same time we can still see this and be like, that's kind of sketchy, but they don't really do that with Jasper. Like, it's like, what are you doing?
But again, we've had so little time with Jasper, and I don't think the show has really given us like a Jasper episode yet. Like, I feel like if they could definitely intend to like give us Jasper's perspective and like her relationship with like the Crystal Gems and Rose, like from the rebellion and all that, but they haven't prioritized that in the show, and I think like for good reason. Jasper's like not like a main character, she's kind of a side character. So I feel like that could be something to flesh out later, but it's just like in terms of things they're juggling in the moments that they've given us with her, like she's just not really a priority.
Yeah.
So
and like I should clarify. My point isn't like I think Jasper is like my point isn't that I dislike Jasper. I don't. I think Jasper's interesting. My general point would be I think that her initial portrayal was like tonally jarring with this generally moral show. And I think they kind of miscalculated. I think that maybe you should, in retrospect, you should make her actions less abusive. And I think that would gel better with her character presentation. I think the counter argument to this would be like kind of like this amoral argument, whereas like who cares, like this it doesn't need to be presented in a morally correct way. You can still have this cool like terrible character, and I would say that like that clashes with the progressive stance of the rest of the show. You could counter that by saying no, it doesn't, and that's really interesting. It's like show can still be socially progressive while showing while not being necessarily moral, which I think the show sometimes is. But this is pretty high level stuff. Anyway, I think that's all interesting stuff. But that's all from Return and Jailbreak. So let's see what we have from future Jasper. Justin, do you want to tell us what happens in Chillatine? I feel like I have a memory of you discussing Chillatine at some point. So
if it's an episode you don't remember well, I discussed it. So
okay, so tell us what we see of Jasper in Chillatine.
Chillatine was weird because all we see is when Steven goes in, and we've discussed what this is, kind of like the internal whatever inside the gem psychological realm of the fusion. Yeah. Whatever that plane is that we see in Malachite, and we don't know what it is, but we see Lapis. Lapis gets dragged down into the water. Jasper comes out, and all we see is Jasper trying to attack Steven. And I think Steven had a hallucination of Jasper as well, like in his dream. But all we see is Jasper struggling for control, can't keep control as long as Lapis is focused, and that's literally all we get. It's like 10 seconds.
Anything to add, Michelle?
Well, I think also just because and I was thinking back, it's like maybe part of the fan reaction too, or just like anyone's reaction is that like Jasper, she doesn't really win a lot. Like she didn't win the fight with Garnet. Like Lapis, like fused with her and dragged her to the bottom of the ocean. Like she hasn't really been in control like a ton. She's definitely like that doesn't really stop her from being a very threatening, like potentially dangerous like figure. But like in Chillatine, she's in control for like a split second, or at least like surfaced from like the mind psyche thing, as Justin points out. So she's not doing well, you know? And Lapis is like super tired from maintaining that control, but she is maintaining it. And it's only until like Super Watermelon Island we see that control like break down. So I think like the sympathetic angle for Jasper in that sense like makes sense too, because you know she's just like she's not really destroying anyone, you know, she's not in a position to do that, and so I think it's easier to sympathize with her for that reason.
Yeah. So now at this point we've switched from her being abusive to her not being able to impose her will kind of at all. Right. So it's and this is a pretty jarring shift. I don't blame fans for not reacting great to this, but it's like at this point she goes from the abuser to, you could say, the abusee, except not, because that's not how it works. But in my opinion, anyway. But so yeah, she definitely like now at this point, like her actions, she's not taking like horrible actions anymore. So right, so now she's going to be more sympathetic and stuff. And I think it's interesting because this episode kind of portrays, I feel like them differing people, and the two of them being in Malachite as who has control over Malachite, and like what we see of Malachite being is of who is in control. And I think it's also presented at the very end of Jailbreak. But I think to a certain extent it breaks down a little bit once we get to Super Watermelon Island. I feel like we don't continue with that too much anymore. Michelle, go over what we see of Malachite and then briefly Jasper in Super Watermelon Island.
We see Malachite kind of talking to herself, and we can assume like it's the Jasper part of her being like, look, we shouldn't be fighting each other anymore. Like, we both have a common enemy. Let's like take out the crystal gems. And I guess like Lapis is like willing to go along with that because they do fight them, pretty much up until, and they kind of combine, like they switch in and out of like Jasper or Lapis's voice over Malachite's VA voice actor. So they're both kind of, in a weird sort of sync in that way, in terms of finding the crystal gems. And then once Malachite gets poofed, they're both knocked out. And one thing, because like there's a lot of people that think like maybe Jasper's gem is cracked, and I feel like maybe partial evidence for that is the fact that we don't really see Jasper's face like at all when she's poofed, and since like her gem is in her nose, like maybe it's cracked. Who knows?
Interesting.
It's a little bit of a tangent.
That's kind of the theory.
Yeah. We'll discuss this more, I guess, in the what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, this is mostly Malachite in this episode that we see, which is its own kind of discussion here. But yeah, I mean, once again, we have Jasper like not being in control, and then at the end of the episode, I mean, like it's they're both Malachite at this point, but Malachite like loses even though they're going to win somehow over the three of them, and then at the end she's falls into the earth and is dead, obviously. So
Jasper's dead.
No more Jasper.
Jasper's dead.
Too old.
Too old.
Should retire it forever.
It should be banned from the podcast.
Oh yeah, it should be.
There's only two banned topics right now. This is definitely known. Bismuth and Centipedal. One of these bans might be lifted. Both are your fault, probably.
Yeah, one of them will.
One of them might be
lifted
next week. We'll see. We'll see how things go. But
Centipedal will be lifted.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of Centipedal coming up. I can't believe we've said that 3 times. Anyway, yeah, I think and Jasper's dead, of course, and Yep, just dead. No more speculation. But okay, so let's use this opportunity to talk about Jasper's part of Malachite. So this control thing, it's hard to express, but I do feel like Michelle, what's your take on where they're at in Super Watermelon? You think they're both kind of an equal presence in Malachite?
Mm-hmm. I think they're kind of on the same page in the sense that they're both willing to fight the crystal gems. It's like a shared enemy.
Yeah. Do you agree, Justin?
Yeah, I definitely. I wouldn't say they're in equal control. I'd say maybe the fusion itself was starting to, kind of like what we see with Sugalite. I think neither was necessarily in control, but I wouldn't say they were in perfect sync either.
You think it was just its own entity at this point?
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's underreported. Is that we kind of like that's another thing that they tried to get into earlier in the season. We kind of lost a little bit this element of like staying as the fusion, you become this independent entity. Yeah. And I don't necessarily think that like they talked about that explicitly, but you could interpret it as that in this one. The other thing I see you have here, Michelle, under this fusion part is that her being part of a fusion and in the finale, seeing what fusion can do. By the way, when I say the finale, until we get until the end of the Summer of Steven, that means the season 1 finale. So we'll have to clarify in a month. But is that it kind of changes her perspective on fusion, and she goes from it's just a cheap trick to clearly in the finale she's like it's powerful.
Yeah.
Where do you think she's at? It's hard to tell because she doesn't speak as Jasper.
Yeah.
Where do you think she's at in Super Watermelon Island at the end of that?
In terms of fusion, or
her view of fusion? You speculate on what Jasper now thinks of fusion, I guess.
I think she could definitely foresee it being like useful for homeworld gems, I mean, now that she's tried it for herself and she feels a lot more positively about it. I mean, I feel like she, not like as logical as Peridot, but she definitely, I feel like she could make an argument for fusion being good on the basis of like, like there's a lot you can accomplish with a different gem fusion than you could with just more of your own. And I feel like that's something she could definitely get behind.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we definitely know that Jasper finds fusion useful. So my question is, once we see Jasper resurface, will Jasper be accepting of fusion on like a cultural perspective?
I mean, I feel like she'd need more time than just.
She was part of a fusion for a long time.
Well, it was not a good fusion, though.
Doesn't mean
Jasper
doesn't have to make sense, Dylan.
I think she'll be fond of fusion. I mean, think about it. Homeworld only uses fusion as a weapon. So when Jasper fused with Lapis, her thought was, we're making a weapon, not this is a relationship.
Exactly.
She doesn't have that Garnet view. She has the stupid rubies make a big ruby that's slightly less stupid view. So when she says tactic to make weak gems stronger, she's thinking the 5 rubies. That's her thought. So now she probably thinks, I can see inter-gems still making a inter-gem fusions making a good weapon as well.
Like battle.
But I doubt she's gonna. I think she'll accept that as a cultural thing, but not the whole relationship living aspect. That's Garnet's perspective.
So
it's two worldviews basically.
In general, agree. But my question is, how confident are we that the show is not going to bring Jasper back and have some sort of moment with Lapis where they it's like, oh, now we have a history. And I think the show doesn't know that they presented something so abusive. So I think that they are more likely than we think to pursue some sort of Lapis Jasper. They're not going to pursue it in full, but I feel like once you have those two characters meet again, from the show's perspective, who doesn't necessarily think that this was who doesn't know how harshly they presented this potentially, Jasper comes out of this fusion and then sees Lapis again and has emotions towards her at this point. I think that's something that could come into play, and that could shape her view of fusion as a thing, and it could potentially go towards acceptance if she has Lapis feelings and it came from being part of a fusion. Then she'd understand Garnet pretty fast, I think.
Oh no! If you look at this is the show's MO is let's take a bad gem and make them a good gem. That's Steven just makes everyone love him and just brings everyone together. Jasper comes back. Jasper's gonna become a crystal gem or whatever, and it's gonna be ridiculous. And it's gonna be Peridot the sequel, but even worse because it's gonna be Lapis is gonna be nope, 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 nope. And then they're gonna do whatever, whatever magical moment that solves whatever, so, and then it's gonna be fit. That's what's gonna happen. I think that's a given.
Yeah. We'll get into that, but my question is Delaney, what do you I'm saying Jasper sees Lapis, and her reaction is not rage at being trapped. Her reaction is maybe some sort of hard to pin down emotions and some sort of caring for her, having been part of this fusion for a while. Do you think that's where we're going, or do you think it's going to be pure upsetness at Lapis?
Well, I mean, I don't think she's going to be upset at Lapis. I think she's going to be upset at the crystal gems and you left me in a hole in the ground. Who does that? And I don't think it's going to be so much this, I think she's probably going to see Lapis. I don't necessarily think as this kind of immediately romantic. It's going to be confusing. I think it's more she's going to consider them allies. Lapis, she's oh yeah, I know Lapis is Lapis is going to be the only person she talks to. She's going to try and get Lapis away from the crystal gems. Maybe feel a little betrayed when she sees how close Lapis is with the crystal gems. She's going to be upset. But I mean, honestly, okay, if Jasper was to come back and just be mad, Jasper, they would just fight constantly, and then Jasper would go away. There's no story there. They're not going to do that because that's not how this show works. Steven has to collect all the crystal gems. He has to have the whole set. So how this works is that she comes back and they get over it in 11 minutes, and then whatever happens.
You're saying Steven is just a rare gem collector? Is that
basically? I mean, I honestly would be thoroughly shocked and pleased if Jasper 1 never came back, or if Jasper came back, was ticked 5 and left, and then I would be fine with that, because it's obviously I love Steven and I want everyone to be happy, but it's getting really tiresome. I love.
So you're just cynical about the Zuko archetype thing, and you assume that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But my thing is I love I read an entire book series that was literally everyone fell in love with the main character. Literally read that book series, but this
every YA novel, but
yeah, it's a lot.
Not every YA novel.
It's fine. It's fine. I love Steven, and I think it's a good message. That Steven's so good, and what the goodness that he is and spreads, and he makes everyone around him better, and he's better because of it and all this stuff, but it's really hard to see how they're going to do this with Jasper. And I feel like Jasper's going to be the big hump we have to get over. So either they do it with Jasper and it's awesome, or they do it with Jasper and I'm going to be annoyed.
By necessity of narrative, we have to have some sort of this type of thing with Jasper, is what you're saying. Michelle, buy or sell Jasper's reaction to Lapis being caring based off of the fusion that they were part of?
I don't think Jasper would necessarily feel caring towards Lapis. I mean, their relationship wasn't built on any positive traits at all. The only thing I could think is that she would admire the fact that Lapis is a very strong opponent. But, like, that's, like, it. I can't imagine they would get along much upon first reuniting with each other.
Justin, buy or sell that?
I don't think we're going to see caring. I think we're going to get something really, really interesting, though. What I think we're going to get, I picture this episode with me, if you would. Put on your thinking caps.
No.
We get the episode Jasper alone. We see Jasper.
No.
She wakes up. There's no Lapis. For the first time in, we don't even know how long it was, Jasper's mind is completely alone. There is no longer that other presence there with Jasper. And so as Jasper does whatever Jasper needs to do to get back, personally my theory is Jasper shows up riding on Centipedal, but that's my own personal opinion.
No.
However this happens, Jasper has to go through this alone, and Jasper has not been alone since the season 1 finale. So she may not care about Lapis, but we're going to see what that does to the psyche of a gem having to be alone, because Lapis doesn't want to talk about it. We get why she doesn't want to talk about it. We're not going to make her talk about it. Jasper is just going to scream about it all she wants to, and be mad and angry and try to figure out why she feels like something's missing. So I don't think we're going to get caring, but we are going to get this kind of something's missing. Whether that turns into caring, whether it doesn't, I don't know, but it's going to be something very unique.
Interesting.
So that's a really interesting perspective. I think that's a great point. Like, something we're not considering is that Jasper, is not going to be part of a fusion, and how that affects Jasper when she wakes up. Great point. I could see them totally pursuing that. I'd like to double down on my kind of concern for a caring for Lapis type thing. This is not what I want. I think this is actively problematic if Jasper sees. If Jasper sees Lapis and then there's sparks fly type thing, but this is my interpretation of how the show is approaching these two, and it's not going to be hard eyes when she sees her, but it's going to be this is a person who's deeply important to me now because of what we've been through together. Again, I don't think that's not what I would want. It's not how I interpret the scenes that they've had. However, I really think that this is kind of where the show has been going. Why else would you not have more of a condemning attitude towards Jasper unless you're going to pursue this type of thing? So I think it would be complicated. I don't think you have to do this and it'd be clearly morally bad or anything. I think it doesn't have to be overtly romantic. It can be some type of innate sense of family from even if this was a bad thing that Jasper's a part of. I feel like Lapis is now very significant to Jasper, and I feel like this is going to be a thing. And it also could be that plus Justin's her being alone type thing. I feel like those don't have to be separate. I feel like those could both happen.
Could Jasper be scared of Lapis now?
Yeah,
maybe she doesn't even like her. Maybe she's just really scared of her.
That would make a very interesting dynamic.
She seriously underestimated her when they fused, so I think she has a lot of reason to be afraid of Lapis now.
Right, so that's kind of the other side of that, which is how the tables have turned type thing, and now Jasper's been through that, and now she's either afraid of Lapis or upset at her for doing that type of thing. I guess I
think that would be a way to address our issues with Jasper from the beginning. I think that would be a way to address all of that as a unit, moving forward.
Yeah.
But if they don't do that, then it's just gonna be nope.
I would prefer them to do it. I really think we're going the type of route I said. I mean, we'll see, but
honestly, ideally, I'd be okay if Jasper just turns into Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. That's honestly the only way I can see being okay with Jasper palling around with the crystal gems.
Justin,
what does Drax do?
No, we're not getting into that, Justin.
I wanted to get into Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nope. Was that
I just want a reference for what kind of character Jasper would be.
Okay, let's talk about.
Okay, well, I do have a thing. I do have a thing. My one issue if Jasper is scared of Lapis is Lapis will, I don't want to say take advantage of that, but she will realize that, And I don't want us to get another Steven talking to Lapis, why are you being so mean? Because with the Peridot, you can get it. If we get it twice, every time Lapis stands up for herself, she's corrected on being too mean because, oh, Jasper's scared. I think we're going to start doing too much disservice to Lapis. I think we're going to make that problematic. That's my fear, is if they make Jasper afraid of Lapis, is we're going to get another Lapis reprimand.
Well, I think if they go that route, that the only way I can see them actually doing that and resolving it in the way that would resolve all of our issues would be Jasper and Lapis and, like, Steven trying to be some sort of, like, weird moderator between the two and, like, actually sitting down and we have, like, an actual conversation. But I really doubt that's going to happen at all.
We need the entire 11 minutes to be the conversation. Like, the last episode starts the conversation. The whole episode is just them sitting at a table, one shot, and then it can end. Which I would love that episode from a design standpoint. I think it would be wonderful. Could even win an Emmy.
Yeah, I'm going to be skeptical on how we I
have no confidence in how, like, honestly, I'm gonna, like, Jasper coming back to me is like, I don't think it's gonna be a good thing.
The show is so perfect morally. This is just really like a big hang up in comparison for me.
Yes.
I don't think this is a surprise. I've expressed this on the podcast before, but it's like the rest of the show, complete confidence. Well, no, not complete confidence, like how they approach like animals and stuff, but this part of the show is like sketchy for me, and I think it's very interesting to see how they handle it. And this is purely from a ethical perspective, from a television quality perspective. It was great, and I think that you just have to do something that's narratively consistent, which is kind of why I think they're going towards what I said, because I feel like that would be more narratively consistent than like condemning Jasper when she comes back. I feel like that's not in total line with what happens. Anyway, we might get more into this when we speculate more at the end. The one thing we haven't talked about is Jasper's role as a quartz. We need to remember Jasper's like gem, like what we know about her being a soldier, stuff like that. So, Michelle, why don't you get on some of the stuff you have in the outline about this?
Well, we learn most about quartz stuff in actually Too Far, when Peridot is talking to Amethyst, like filling her in on like who she was supposed to be. The planet gone perfectly, and she says that like all quartz are essentially soldier gems, which like again brings up another huge like so. If Jasper's like brute force, Amethyst, maybe she was also, but like rose quartz definitely doesn't seem like brute force kind of gem. So maybe like if she was a soldier, if all quartzes are soldiers, like that puts into question like what was rose quartz's role as a soldier gem, and how would that differ from gems like Jasper and Amethyst? Peridot also points out that quartz are like extremely loyal. I think we've definitely seen evidence of that with Jasper in terms of how she thinks about Homeworld, how she like sees herself and her duties, and the fact that she's a veteran of rebellion, and she's had like thousands of years, and she's still like as committed then as she ever was, if maybe not more so. So that might also be part of the reason it would be harder maybe to convince Jasper than like Peridot to be a crystal gem, because Jasper's been around just a whole lot longer, and she's been way more invested in the sense that she's been out there like on the battlefield, like killing other gems for the sake of Homeworld. So I feel like, you know, if we ever do get her perspective in a more like long-term way, that would be really great in terms of fleshing out, like, you know, what does she really think about what she's doing, and why does she believe in Homeworld, or is she just like, is she, you know, so if she does end up being maybe not a crystal gem, but being willing to fight for Earth, I feel like we'd really have to know what her perspective is on, you know, Homeworld in a larger sense of like what she's done in the past. But yeah, that's mostly what we learned about quartzes. And it does give us like a little more to go on Jasper, though obviously not a whole lot.
Yeah, good stuff. So how do we know Jasper's a quartz?
because it was listed somewhere. I don't know if
I think we've discussed this.
I'm gonna grab the book of Steven.
I know she's in it's been mentioned that she's a quartz somewhere, and people have been pointing out well, her hair looks like amethyst, she does the spinny ball thing,
right? So she's amethyst, she's similar to amethyst. I get that, but is this canon?
It is canon, not in the show.
Steven Universe Guide to the Crystal Gems, Jasper Gemtite Quartz.
Okay. Outside of the book, though, this is not something that's been said in the show, obviously, but that's not super far. Okay, but so we know this from auxiliary material and from inferences in the show. Okay, so warrior gem stuff like that. So Jasper, under Yellow Diamond's hierarchy, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's got a little yellow diamond on her chest.
I forgot what I called that. Umbrella. What?
We've called it many things.
I don't remember. Anyway, I agree. Okay, so then the next question is, how high up is Jasper in the gem societal social hierarchy?
I feel like she's higher up now than maybe she was. I don't really know how they would rank gems. I don't think all soldiers are the same rank.
Right.
Because
so we know from Peridot and Amethyst that quartzes are higher than the rest of our gems, but that's not necessarily saying much.
Yeah.
But do different quartzes have different rankings within society? Is Jasper being
I think so.
Is her being a general make her high up, that type of thing? Is she a general?
Probably. Plus the fact that she's been around fighting for so long, that's got to help. Because
actually, I would
program
doubt
battle
that
experience
would matter. No, I actually really doubt that experience would matter in a society like Homeworld. You're designed to do one thing, and all Jaspers are this, and all Rose Quartz are this. I feel that's how that has to work. Because they've as how they've presented Homeworld, it's Brave New World. You're this, and you're never going to be anything but this.
Experience mattering contradicts the caste system to a certain extent. I agree. So it could just be that she's born into a high general type warrior type thing, though.
True.
I would say I'm not Jasper could be high. I would think Jasper is I don't think Jasper's to me it's Rose Quartz super high level general. That's why it was a really big deal. And then we have Jasper, and Jasper might be one below her, maybe a few below Rose Quartz. But then we have, and then of course Peridot's techie lackey.
Right. But, so my impression is that Jasper is the highest level non-diamond, non-rose gem we've seen.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how I would feel about it.
But it's not clear how much there is between her and Yellow Diamond. That's my thing.
Right.
It's how many people are in between. And I think that our natural instinct would be to say not many. She'd be pretty close to Yellow Diamond. But at the same time, I feel there's a lot to explore mythology-wise there if we want to expand that difference between the general and the super boss leader. I feel there's a lot of interesting stuff that we get into.
Yeah, and being a high-ranking warrior gem is very different than being a high-ranking aristocratic gem.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's because what's interesting about Ruby and Sapphire is we kind of have rubies are dumb, we've seen they're dumb, and then Sapphire's been kind of presented very intelligent and very in those flashback episodes they're respected. They have this special ability, and so they're highly prized. And then for Ruby and a Sapphire, it's kind of a weird dynamic. So you could I would say that someone like Sapphire theoretically might be more important than someone like Jasper, depending obviously on the situation, but also in that sense we could have a high council gem that's okay, yeah, you're a really powerful warrior, but I write laws or something, an adjudicator gem or something ridiculous like that.
Inquisitor.
Jasper higher is Jasper higher on the social cast than Sapphire?
I would say
no.
Sapphire's a rare gem too. We don't know how many Jaspers there are, but I feel there are less Sapphires out there than there are Jaspers.
But we know Jasper is a quartz. It doesn't even matter how many Jaspers there are. There's a bunch of quartz.
I think
that's.
Yeah, I don't know enough about Sapphire to say that definitively, but yeah, it's
I would that's how I was that's how I kind of read it. Sapphire, Sapphire is more important than Jasper, in the whole scheme of probably Homeworld life.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we just need more info on that. Okay, going along here, so it's time. Jasper predictions. Let's go around the horn. First, is Jasper dead?
Oh my god, how can you ask that, Dylan?
Michelle, yes or no?
No!
Justin?
Never!
Delaney?
Yes.
And I'll go with yes.
Oh my
okay.
God.
So next is...
he dead?
Jasper's dead. D dead.
We're tied 2-2 on that one. You know, it's 50-50 whether she's live or not. We'll just have to see.
Schrodinger's Lapis and Jasper.
Yes.
What?
For now, it is Schrodinger's Jasper to a certain extent.
Schrodinger's Jasper.
So, okay, next question. If the 50% that she's alive happens, will she join the Crystal Gems? Michelle, yes or no? Ever in the series?
Ever.
EB.
Maybe no. Yes or no? Yep. Yes? No?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I honestly, that's not, like, my ideal endgame, but, like, sure, why not? In the
There's a difference between what you want and what you think's gonna happen. That happens to me all the time when we talk about shows.
It's hard.
Justin.
Sure.
American Vegeta.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Delaney.
Yes. Unfortunately.
I'll go with no, I think. I'll go with no.
Still has to be different.
I do think
Of course.
First of all, she's dead, but if she's not dead, I think
first of all, she's dead.
I think
you have to
she'll
watch yourself saying things like that.
By the way, this is a joke if you can tell. But I think that she'll interact with them. I don't know if she's necessarily.
Well, okay. Well, Michelle said something interesting earlier about like, I don't think Jasper would be a crystal gem, but she'd protect Earth, and I'm like, the way you differentiate that to me is interesting because basically all the crystal gems have in common, besides like an adoration for Steven, is that they protect the Earth. So like, to me, like, to be a crystal gem is to swear your fealty to the protection of Earth, and because that's what Steven's like all about. So like, I think it's kind of interesting. Like maybe when you think about crystal gem, you think like being the close knit like Steven's family. But to me, like, a crystal gem, like, you know, basically there's two sides to this war, Homeworld versus the crystal gems, and I think if Jasper decides to protect Earth, that would make her a crystal gem.
I think Jasper will protect Earth, but not... I could see going with that kind of a vigilante idea. Being like a rogue, not neutral third party, but kind of will only work with the crystal gems when in direct combat with Homeworld. Otherwise, she is staying far, far away. So we'll see her in big fights only with the gems. Otherwise, she's off doing her own thing.
I could see that. I could see either, to be honest.
Like, I agree with that, but to me, that would still make her a crystal gem because she's protecting the Earth.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hoops to clear.
There's hoops. There's
you have to have a star.
Yeah, first of all, she needs a star. Second of all, she needs to not.
Oops, it's like a marathon. There's like an obstacle course she has to go through.
More realistically, though, her views of Homeworld, like Michelle talked about, the extreme loyalty. Like, I don't see that changing anytime soon. So.
Well, I don't know. My thing is, like, it's interesting because, like, Peridot was, you know, kind of not easily swayed. But the thing is, like, there's this whole difference between, like, you know, like, you're born, you do one thing your entire life, and that's really all you understand. Versus, because theoretically, because this is kind of how Brave New World works a little bit, like. When you have a caste system like that, the higher ups are like a little self-aware. They're like Yellow Diamonds. Like, I believe this because I have reasons for believing this, not because I was made this way and like I have this directive that was like, you know, whispered in my ear. So Jasper potentially, I doubt this. Jasper could potentially be high up enough to be self-aware, like, oh, she actually believes this, and that's why she does it. It's not just because she's a Jasper.
Yeah,
I doubt that she's just below that clearance level, probably.
Yeah, there's, I mean, I think she's presented as kind of sentient and stuff like that. Anyway, like that's.
Also, if you haven't read Brave New World, please go read it. I mention it every time I talk about Homeworld.
Okay.
Just please read it.
I just ignore
this is true.
I'm a big fan of Brave New World, but we've had a lot of references. Okay, not one of the last ones. So fill in the blank. Jasper will romance one of the crystal gems during the series.
Oh my god!
It will be, and your choices are lapis, amethyst, pearl, rose, peridot. Michelle,
can I have a write-in?
No,
yeah, do write-in.
No, I have a theory.
Come on.
Who didn't I list?
Come on, Dylan,
so much faith in you.
Who didn't I list? Garnet.
Yeah, no. I think Jasper's going to try and romance Garnet. It's not going to be successful.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, they do have history. Okay, you can fill in Garnet in that blank. Michelle, who are you putting in the blank?
Rose. She's the only one she respects.
Rose, are you aware that Rose currently does not
You
exist?
know, you put her on the list,
Are you
Dylan,
aware that Rose...
are you aware?
So we're getting the graduate,
You put her on the list. So
it was a trick question, and you fell for it.
Oh, well. No, I do. I think Rose is probably the only one.
Dylan laid the trap, and Michelle fell right in.
This is so ridiculous.
That was under the assumption that Rose will come back at some point in the series.
Watch that actually be what happens. Rose somehow comes back like the first episode of the Steven Adventure.
Yeah.
Just somehow.
That's not what's happening. Justin, fill in the blank.
Okay. Can I have her write in?
No, so fill in the blank.
Is that literally fill in the blank? Literally is right in though.
If you want to write in, if you want to write in,
have a word bank.
Centipedal.
Nope, stop. If you want to write in,
I'm not kidding.
Stop.
Beauty and the Beast kind of story where she uncorrupts the Peridot.
Peridot. Interesting. Delaney, you have Garnet.
Well, I like.
That's the right.
I honestly think I share your fear of the Lapis and Jasper, but I do think we're gonna have like a scene or like Jasper. If this is like if we were to have like a kind of an attempt, Jasper might try something with Garnet, and then Garnet would just shut her down like so hard, like just immediately.
Like Jamie.
That'd be really fun to watch, I will admit.
Like I'm very confident in this Jasper Garnet thing like happening. Like at this like moment, like I'm just predict this moment.
They do have a history. I'm gonna go with Lapis. I don't want it to happen, but that's
I don't want it. No thanks.
I would also frequent commenter Steve would like to write in Greg in this category.
Ooh, interesting. I like
this. Steve has expressed the opinion that Greg has a type, which is like giant alien women, and Jasper now fills that quota.
That seems legit.
Makes a lot of sense.
I feel this.
The season 3 finale. Jasper is my mom.
Do you buy this? Buy or sell Jasper and Greg, Michelle?
Sure. I mean, execution can't happen, but sure.
So unenthusiastic. So Justin, you're buying.
Well, it depends. Does Jasper like rock music?
Ignore
okay,
me.
you
Delaney.
just wanted to make the pun.
Ignore
okay.
me. Delaney.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it twice. I'm about this.
Wow.
Double buy. I'm about this. 2 thumbs up from Delaney.
Yeah,
Do we have fan art yet?
Oh, I mean, I'm selling, but that seems kind of obvious. Why is Jasper like Greg? You know, like, why is this a thing?
No, I would really like Greg just being like, who's that?
I can see Greg being, Greg crush on Jasper would be pretty funny. Yeah. I do like the concept that Greg just has a type, which is just huge alien women.
Which I'm okay. This is good. Like, this is excellent. Thank you, Steve. This is good stuff.
Thank you. I have a new OTP and I'm finding fan art and I'm so happy.
I'm trying to think what their ship name would be. Grasper?
Okay. Grasper. Last thing, Michelle.
There's actually fan art. I'm shocked.
Oh, is there really?
Oh my god.
I shouldn't be surprised.
I'm not
fan art of everything.
Anyway, Michelle, briefly explain the Jasper's gem being cracked thing.
People think it. I mean, I think part of the ceiling fell on the earth.
People think it.
It fell on the earth, so like, there's a lot of things you can smash or gem on when you're falling in the earth.
Jasper died. Her
like
that's how it works.
Alexandrite shot Malachite. Who's to say like the arrow didn't like nick her nose gem?
Okay.
You know.
So yeah, that's interesting. So could Jasper be corrupted when we find her?
Potentially,
Possibly.
yeah.
I mean, sure.
I think that could be where we go with that. That would be interesting.
Let's not forget where Jasper, or where Malachite was, rather. The bottom of the ocean, with Jasper being basically submerged within this thing, submerged in the bottom of the ocean. Pressure. That pressure could have ended up cracking. That could have caused Malachite. That could have been what undid Malachite. Just the unstable, corrupted Jasper was able to overpower Lapis. From a scientific perspective-ish, that kind of makes sense. From like the pressure of the ocean.
We don't need to discuss ocean pressure. But Jasper. Okay, the last thing is Jasper and the cluster. What's going on here?
Basically, Jasper's.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Jasper and the cluster. Are you shipping it, Justin?
Yes, I ship everything.
Oh my god. You're shipping this giant amorphous, like, blob of...
Are you against poly ships now, Dylan?
I don't think that counts as a poly ship. It's not a thing. It's not a people. It's like...
It's not a people. It's not
what do you have against non-people?
you know,
wow.
some
Moving
things,
on.
maybe. Anyway, Michelle, what do you think's happening with Jasper in the cluster?
I kind of want her to interact with the cluster because I think that'd just be really interesting from like a show standpoint. But I don't honestly know if she could make it all the way down there. I mean, like they had a drill to get there. I don't know if that like fissure that like cracked the island
I mean, I
would be enough to get her all the way down there, or if she would have like the force to even like pop it. Maybe it is like, you know, like the bubbled cluster is like a huge unanswered plot thread, to be honest. So it's gonna have to come to a head somehow. Jasper could be the solution to that.
Yeah, TBH, it's a big unanswered plot thread. Yeah, I mean, you would think Jasper wouldn't be able to fall to the cluster. But,
No. I saw that.
But they also drilled into the cluster.
No. Okay, I saw that Jasper fell, and I was like, okay, Jasper's gonna chill with the cluster. Like, if they're gonna have Jasper like kind of change her mind about things, Jasper chatting with the cluster could be it.
Yeah,
true.
I think that could be where we go to. Also, Jasper could like ride the cluster. So
literally, that's what I pictured in my head, Dylan. I was like, she's gonna. That's how it's gonna come back. She's gonna ride it to the surface. That's what's gonna happen.
Yep. Okay, that's enough. But the reality will be that Jasper is dead. So
Jasper's dead.
Yep. In conclusion,
Grasper.
It's getting less funny every
Grasper.
time you do this, Dylan.
This is our last chance.
Dead. This isn't funny. This is serious. Jasper's dead.
That's that. Let us know what you think will happen to Jasper. We went for an hour on this. Well, 10 minutes of it was not this, but let us know who you're shipping with Jasper. What the speculation is going to come true. Will we see this? Oh, will we see Jasper again in before the end of the summer of Steven? Michelle, yes or no?
Yes.
Justin.
We better.
Yes.
Delaney.
No.
I think no. I honestly think no.
This isn't just me being like, LOL, Jasper's dead. No, it's like an actual no, we're not going to see her.
I think this is like, I think that some homeworld shenanigans happens at the end of season 2, like some big thing, like maybe Yellow Diamond comes down, and then Jasper comes out in like the wake of that, like in the remnants of Earth after Yellow Diamond kills the
because they're gonna drag this out to where it's like, is Jasper really dead? And then Jasper's gonna come out, and it's gonna be ridiculous, and that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but now Jasper's gonna come in next episode, Drop Beat Dad and Mr. Greg. That's a 2-part arc about Jasper and Greg.
And Greg, yeah. Exactly.
Jasper. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Dylan Hysen, Delaney Stovall, Justin Cummings, and Michelle Anderer. Overlyanimated.com. You can support us on patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much. This ad-free doing both my patron things at once. This ad-free podcast is brought to you by our patrons. Thank you very much to them. Wherever the list is, who knows. Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, Catherine, and Taylor, aka Fever, Mitch, Dynasty, Beach, Nathan, Fillion, Buzz Lightyear, Mailman, Rich Rose, Danny, Baba, Brian, Quick Cat, and Needle. Next week, full out Summer of Steven speculation. I don't know how much spoilers we'll allow. Maybe all of them, because it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. Like what's an official spoiler, what's a leak. The answer is if it's a 2-minute thing from the beginning of the episode, then it's a leak. If it's from Cartoon Network YouTube, it's an official thing. But I don't know if they intended to put out the thing that came out today, because you would assume no, but at the same time they're incompetent, so who knows. Comments, YouTube comments, overlyanimated.com, and Tumblr asks. Thank you in advance for your comments and for your listening to the podcast and your feedback. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube and leave us iTunes reviews. And that's it. Last comments, anyone?
Jasper's dead.
Yep, agreed.
Jasper's dead and we killed her.
I'm done with all of you.
Yeah, I feel like Michelle was the Justin role of this podcast. That was interesting. But Justin was also the Justin role, so.
Justin was also
I'm always Can somebody, patrons, Tumblr people, somebody draw me as a sushi roll, please?
No one's
thank
doing
you.
fan art of you.
What?
No.
There should be. I want
Thanks for
that.
listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Bye.